Crazy girlfriend posted a pic kissing AP, then asked why I left her crying on the grass in park. This is the thing, when I was 18 years old, I met my ex-girlfriend of 19 years old at college, let's call her S. Our friendship really was fast. S and I just sat together in a meeting with some other students of our career study, and we were all just getting to know each other, you know. What's our names, hobbies, favorite things to do, etc. One person asked the other sitting next to them, so it was my turn to ask the person next to me. When I turned to ask S those questions, something felt really good about it. I looked her in the eyes, she had beautiful sparkly brown eyes. It was like love at first sight. She looked at me and she started blushing. I knew then, something clicked, right then and there. So we just started talking and just getting to know each other much better. We would go out not even realizing it was like mini dates. Just walking in parks, going to the movies, going for long walks, but they weren't planned. We would just be walking after class and just bump across the way with movie theaters, restaurants, parks, and we would just go in and enjoy time together. I realized then that I was falling for her. One day I didn't go to class cause I got sick, and the next day she saw me, ran towards me, hugged me, and then said, "What happened? I missed you." I just said, "It's fine, I just got sick and couldn't come." She looked so worried, and I enjoyed that moment hugging her. After that, I knew she was the one I had to be with. A few weeks passed, and I asked her out for the first time, and she obviously said yes. We went on a picnic and I asked her to be my girlfriend, and she said, "I was wondering when you were gonna ask me that," and said, "Of course." I was celebrating so hard on the inside and calm on the outside, and I remember saying to myself, "She's the one, I'm so lucky to have her, you deserve no more than her," and all of the positive things someone would say to themselves. But boy was I wrong. 9 months into our relationship, now I'm 19 and S 20, I was so blinded by love that I did not see any red flags. One day S says, "I'm going to my friend's birthday party." I said, "I'll come with since I know all her friends." Then she says, "It's only girls' night, no boys," and so I got this feeling that something wasn't right because she never pushed me away like that. I was texting her through WhatsApp and was going through, but she didn't read it. So I realized by going through her Instagram account, she had blocked me in WhatsApp too. I rarely use social media accounts, so I go open my Facebook account, but she didn't block me, so I saw what she was posting. Worst decision ever. She posted a photo kissing some random dude in the party that said, "You're the greatest." I was broken/shattered, whatever you'd like to call it. I felt betrayed. So then, I didn't block her in any account, I just didn't reply back. She'd send text after text, and I just couldn't read them. I was a mess. I loved her so much, she was my first real relationship, and she blew it. The day we had class, she asked me why I didn't answer back, but I just said I had a family issue, and did not have the chance to look into my phone. So she then hugged me and said, "Everything's going to be okay, love you." I almost threw up. After a week I told her we had to talk. We met at a park and I showed her the photo of her with another guy kissing at her friend's BD party, no boys. She started crying, making a scene at the park, everyone just staring at her, they all thought I hurt her. Some dude came and asked what's going on. Her screams scared everyone at the park. I told the guy nothing, I didn't want to involve other people, but the scene she was making had people getting involved. So the guy started pulling me away with force and S said, "He's not at fault, I am the guy, let go." I was so weak from the pain inside, so I did nothing. My cell phone was on the ground, the guy picked it up and saw the pic of her with some dude that wasn't me and said, "Oh, she cheated?" I said yes. So then, everyone understood what was happening, and the guy just said, "Come dude, I got you. Let's go get drunk and enjoy with other girls." We just left my ex sitting on the grass crying her eyes out. Now, here is where I need help. It's been 6 full years since I've dated anyone else. Every time I met some really nice girl, liked her and got the opportunity to date, I would just remember what I went through and push them away, or just ghost them without an explanation. I'm stuck and scared to live with that experience that I don't want to go through again. It's the worst. How can I get over that? Update. Hello everyone, I would like to begin by saying, for those readers that think this is fake, it is not, and thank the rest by the comments and those few people that helped with therapists. Long story short, I was cheated by my ex when I was 18 years old, now 23, for 4 months during the relationship. I ended the relationship in a park and got help from some stranger who bought me some beers at a bar, legal drinking age in my country. Then, never again did I go out with any girl for 6 whole years. FYI, left my ex bawling her eyes out at the park. With the help of a few that messaged me, some therapists contacted me, got in touch with one, and had several sessions. I got some comments that because of the time that I was single, I must have gone through some trauma when I was younger. Let me tell you, during the sessions, I recovered a really deep memory that my grandpa had cheated on my grandma, and that was the cause that I had been single all those 6 years. The therapist told me that was a huge heartbreak experience, that my mind just blocked it, and it was a major break for me because after this rediscovery, I was going to be able to get to know people and open up to some possible relationships. He wasn't wrong. After that, I was able to see this girl that was onto me for some time, and I asked her out. We have been going out for 2 weeks now, and are getting to know each other better. I have to admit, this is a huge step for me. I am a 23-year-old guy and she is a 27 STB 28-year-old girl. She's my type, I like everything about her, I don't even mind the age gap, I'm always happy spending time with her and starting to think that she may be my new girlfriend. For that, I'm not really ready yet. I have to wait a little longer for that to happen. I just learned that she got cheated on too in her last relationship a year ago. She says it's been a year since she has gone out with someone. I really like this girl. 2 days ago we went out to a coffee shop, we were sitting in my car and chatting for an hour outside her house, and she brings out the age gap that we have. I told her I didn't mind that, but she said people are going to be asking how old we are, and we would have to explain why we're together with such an age gap. I replied we just say that age doesn't matter. I tried to stop the conversation there because I was getting a bad emotion from her, like she has a problem with it. I know it's common for girls to be with older guys, but it's not the case with us, it's backwards, I am young and she is older. I said look, it's only an age gap of 5 years, it's not a big problem, if someone has a problem with it, then that's their problem. After that she smiled and was able to go home happy. I think that answer made her feel comfortable. We are now trying to see when we're going out again. I asked her today when we could see each other and she texts me this: I wanted to tell you something, I didn't think I was going to go out with you because I didn't know you. After we met, I could tell you're a nice guy, funny and open to be around with. Here comes the but. As you know, I'm 27 years old, STB 28, and as I said, I have lived once with someone and I have gone through many experiences before and after my mom passed away. Those past experiences make me think differently, and since you're just starting to go out, I don't know if I'm getting ahead with myself. Before we could be a couple, we need to know about each other a lot more. We are going out constantly, and that scares me because although you're different from my ex, that's how things started with him, and he cheated on me, and the one that ended badly was me. Because of my age, I can't tolerate that to happen again. I wouldn't like to be cheated on again. I obviously, when we were on our second date, told her about my experience and made her know that I would not cheat ever. She got that message clear the first time I told her, so that message was something out of the blue for her to send. I don't know what to think about it. I don't know if she even wants to be with me. I told her to take her time, think about things, talk things out with someone, and let me know as soon as she has an answer for me. That was this noon, I'm still waiting for her response. I just really hope she wants to try something with me, I really think we would be an amazing couple. I have not spoken to my therapist about this. I don't know what I want from this, any advice? Something? I'm going to talk to my therapist about this in my next session. I would like to say thanks once again for the people that supported me, and the ones that told me to go for therapy. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be going out with anyone right now. I am really thankful. Update 2. I didn't get any text from the girl I was going out with last night. I have waited today too. Just a few minutes ago I got a response from her saying she just wants to remain friends and stop going out. Like somebody in the comments said, it's not your job to convince her the rest of your life you won't cheat on her. She has a barrier built up and won't open up. I don't think it's my place to tell her to go look for a therapist, she might feel insulted in some way. I have spoken with my best friend about her, and he said this is the first time I've seen you happy since your last breakup. I'm happy for you, I almost shed a tear. He has always been there for me since middle school. Anyways, I will talk with my therapist about the progress I've made by opening up, giving a chance to dating, and what just happened. I really feel kinda free since I started dating this girl, but now she just wants to be friends. I will finish this post by saying that I will just keep enjoying life and just wait for the right girl to arrive. Thank you so much to everyone. You have really helped me a lot through this. This is it, everyone. Goodbye and best of luck to everyone in their relationships. Cheap ex-girlfriend contacted me to beg for help cause AP uses her, but I refused because she's a cheater. The first red flag is when I proposed to her August 22, 2020. We were on our 8-year anniversary, riding a Ferris wheel into the night sky, surrounded by stars and beautiful lights. She never gave me an answer. Not a no, not a yes, just silence. I thought she just had trouble processing what I did, but the truth was, there was something more dark going on that she was too cowardly to tell me. Fast forward to the end of November. When she told me that she needed to cover for a coworker whose family passed away, and we wouldn't be able to spend her day off together, it was right after she was happily texting someone and hit her phone when I walked by. Weird as hell. Whoever she was talking to, she didn't want me to know, because I saw she was deleting texts right before she turned the phone away. I didn't announce my suspicion. I'm going to work tomorrow to cover for someone passed away in her family, and she's never going to have the chance to go to the funeral if she misses it that day. I'll do laundry before that too. Understandable. She was going to have a busy day off, but the vibes warned me something was wrong. Then comes Wednesday, December 2, 2020. She packed up laundry and was super excited to leave the house. Bye love, I'm going to do laundry, then I'll head off to work. You can stay home. I insisted on going. She fought against it. But I know you don't like doing laundry. Why not just stay here? And I told her I wanted to help out. She didn't seem very pleased, but we left the house together. She stopped by a gas station to grab quarters, and she left her phone in the car with me while music played. Then she got a text that interrupted the music. I checked the phone, and I noticed another man's name. I quickly opened up the message log, and I read her last message. I'm really sorry, but I can't have sex with you today. Kyle came with me to do laundry, and is in the way. I think he suspects something. I went livid when she came back. She realized she was caught. She sat in the driver's seat saying absolutely nothing, while my unbridled fury erupted at the discovery. I began smashing the dashboard. I took my box of drive-through chicken and smashed it as well. I kicked, I cussed. I called her a traitorous, backstabbing, cheating girl. I yelled "duck you" at her. I told her I hated her. I flipped her off to her face and stormed away, yelling at her I hope he was ducking worth it as I slammed the door as hard as I could. I sent hateful, angry texts to her. I have never done that before. It's the first time I ever told someone that I loved that they were a girl. After I had time to calm down at the apartment, and she came crawling back, I confronted her and demanded the truth. She looked down at the ground and stayed silent, mustering the courage to stop being a lying coward for once. She cheated because she wasn't in love with me anymore. She fell out of love with me a year ago due to her needs not being met, but never told me this and pretended nothing was wrong, that she had been cheating on me with him in secret for 4 months, including around the time we had our anniversary, that she is in love with him and wants to start a family/serious relationship with him, and that he is falling for her. She also was still seeing him but didn't want to break up with me until after Christmas. So basically I was still paying the rent of some girl who didn't love me for an entire year, and once she was done with me after Christmas, she would move on to her secret man after she was done using me. Were the happy and good times we were experiencing together that whole year a lie? Why would she lie? How many of her kisses were fake? Her hugs, her cute demands for affection, our laughter, our sex, us holding each other in bed and being happy we weren't spending it alone, how much of it was all a farce to keep me there helping her with bills? Hearing this all at once broke me. It broke me so bad she started crying too. In her mind she believed I would never find out her secret plot to replace me with a rebound, but I did. She had no idea how to handle this confrontation. She buckled and apologized profusely, wishing she never did this to me. But the damage was already done. She gave in to lust and had an affair. She fell in love with a man who doesn't even spend enough time with her. She is smitten by someone who is just using her for sex, but convinced her that they were going to start a family together. She is, as my supportive best friend told me, a ducking retard. She threw away our relationship for a fantasy the other man crafted, and now she was trying to rationalize her decisions. Telling me she fell out of love for me a long time ago. That everything that I lacked, he had. He bragged about his money and his house, and she got sucked in. Totally ignoring the fact that he doesn't put any effort into regularly being with her, and is seeing other girls too. They're not exclusive at all. It's too late though. She already cheated. She already lied. She already got caught trying to use me, and then dumped me at the end of the year. So I ended it with her. And every day since then has been a catastrophic storm of self-hatred, fighting my desires for revenge, Zoe*sidal thoughts, resisting the urge to try and make it up to her, and breaking my obsession to her. Thankfully, a mutual friend I told realized how badly I was hurting, and told me that staying in the same apartment with my ex only opens the wounds even more. That staying there won't fix anything, and it actually just prolongs our suffering. I wanted to get in the way of her and her secret man, to stay there and try to rekindle something, but we couldn't be the same. The truth was there, and our friendly, loving activities have been permanently poisoned. I can't cuddle a girl who doesn't love me. I can't kiss a girl who gave BJ to another man. I can't say I love you, have a good day to her anymore. I had hatred and vengeance boiling in my blood and festering into every memory. So I packed up all my stuff without telling her, and had her drop me off at our friend's house. She offered me her Bulbasaur keychain, so I could remember the good times. I rejected it. I told her I don't want anything to remind me of a girl who doesn't love me, and she choked up, walked back to the driver's seat, and drove away. And since then I have never messaged her, never reached out to her, and am making a deliberate effort to never look up her social media accounts. My friend still talks to her, and tells me that she is falling apart. That me not being around the house is ducking with her. That thinking about all of our good memories hurts her, and that her secret man may have all this money, attractive qualities, vehicles, and showers her with validation and compliments that make her want to duck him, but everything else I did stopped being fulfilled. The small important things that didn't make her feel alone. The gifts. The reassurance. Going out and eating, enjoying birds at the park, playing with our pet rabbit, drawing cute stuff for her. Her secret man does nothing of that. He just calls her up when he's craving her mouth and body, but nothing more than that. Their honeymoon phase is ending, the excitement and joy are wearing off, and the fantasy is falling apart. But my heart is still broken. The relationship is still ruined. She still chose him over me. Even if lust compelled her to think she fell out of love with me a year ago, and that she didn't want to spend the rest of her life with me, she still said it. She can't rationalize something this bad. She should have told me something was wrong if she was that unhappy. I am trying to accept that there's no going back. Trying to remind myself it wasn't my fault. I still catch myself trying to fix this relationship. Trying to go back to her, tell her how much I still love her, and want to do anything to fix what was broken, but that is the absolute opposite of what I should do. She gave up on the relationship 4 months before this. It's her responsibility to apologize for this horrendous act against me and beg for me back. She lied to me and decided to duck me over in the worst way possible, and it might have come true if it wasn't for the vibes I got. This mysterious sense that told me to pay attention to a very minute detail, which helped me unravel this deceitful scheme, and saved me before I got used to my last cent and was flushed out of the apartment broken and alone. Have you ever gotten a vibe like this? When have you been warned out of the blue that something was seriously wrong with your relationship? Update. I mean, it's karma, right? We were struggling in the pandemic this year. He told her everything she wanted to hear, talking about giving her the luxurious life and thinking about going serious with her, using his fitness and looks to keep her chasing. However, the only time they ever meet is to have sex. She only sees him like once or twice a week. She's getting used to it, and the things she craves, marriage to a wealthy athletic business owner daddy, are not going to come true. But she chose him over me, erroneously thinking she is making the right choice. After our breakup 17 days ago, my friend reached out to her and found out she regrets her decision and misses me. She won't say it because I told her I hope he was ducking worth it to her face when I found her text messages and let her confess the truth to me. She can't admit that she got played for Zex and ducked up a real loving relationship to be some other guy's 3RD/4TH/5TH choice. I feel sorry for her. I also get it, because I also got played by a girl many years ago, who told me everything I wanted to hear, used me and then tossed me aside. However, my trust is already destroyed. I understand the flaws we had in the relationship, and everything I wasn't doing is what drove her to him. I can't just take her back after all this. I don't hate her or him anymore, but I just wish she wasn't so gullible, stupid and desperate. She bet all her chips on a future with him instead of me, and ended up losing. I found out my 31M ex-wife, 27F, cheated on me while she was pregnant. I 31M found out my now ex-wife, 27F, had been cheating on me last year when she was 6 months pregnant. The affairs happened before and during the pregnancy. She had reasons and excuses and didn't want to get a divorce. She wanted to stay together and do couples therapy. I told her to go ahead and get therapy, but cheating was a deal breaker for me, so we got a divorce. The house was mine before we got married, so she moved back in with her parents, who had enough room to set up a nursery and give my ex the guest room. We agreed to an even 50-50th split of custody. My wife has our daughter Sunday through Wednesday, and the original plan was for her to drop her off at daycare on Wednesday morning, and my nanny picked her up around noon and brought her back to my house, where my daughter would stay with me until Saturday night or Sunday morning, depending on what worked best for everyone. Then my ex said she thought the daycare was misplacing some things she was sending in for her to bring to my house, because a few times our daughter came home short of some bottles or without her binky. So ex said she wanted to drop our daughter off at our house directly to make sure all of her things get to me. So she started picking her up from daycare on her breaks and dropping her off here. I work from home Wednesdays and Fridays. Even so, I'm working. When ex began dropping off Nadine at my house, it was normally about 12:30. My daughter's nanny, nice old lady from Barbados, not sure of her age, but I'd say the late 50s to 60s, was the one to answer the door for my ex and take my daughter and her things, since I was in my office working. Ex began saying she wanted to speak to me directly when she dropped off. She said she felt like she was unloading a lot on the nanny and didn't want her to forget to tell me anything. I would be lying if I said I didn't still have some resentment and anger towards my ex. I don't want my daughter to see that though, so when I talk to my ex I try to be as emotionally even as possible, just talk about the things that pertain to my daughter and no more. At today's drop-off, Nadine had a dirty diaper, so her nanny took her upstairs to change her. My ex asked me how I was doing and I told her I was fine, thank you, and then began to walk back to my office. She sees herself out, she used to live there. As I was walking away she says, "You know, I'm getting really sick of your crap." I didn't even get a chance to ask her what crap she was talking about when she just started freaking out, saying I was emotionally manipulating her by being cold and distant, that she shouldn't be punished forever for her mistakes, and how me hating her is the same as me hating my daughter. I let her finish yelling, and then told her to leave. I think my best bet is to go no contact with her again, and not see her for drop-offs anymore. But I was looking for some other perspectives or opinions on the matter if you might have them. Edit. I got a paternity test once I found out she cheated. My daughter is mine. Update. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to everyone who took the time to comment their support, sympathies, and advice. I didn't get a chance to respond to all the comments, but I read and appreciate them all. There were so many great suggestions. Someone suggested a website called Talking Parents, which I believe is going to be a great resource for my ex-wife and I. The thing I need to keep reminding myself is that in 5 or 10 years, the negative and betrayed feelings I have for my ex-wife will most likely fade, but a hostile relationship between the two of us will impact our daughter forever. Because of this, I sat down with my ex-wife and had a recorded conversation about our situation. I was very open and honest with her. I told her that I still had negative feelings towards her as my ex-wife, but as the mother of my child I would always treat her civilly and respectfully, but we had to have boundaries. I told her that we are going back to the original plan where she drops her off at the daycare Wednesday mornings, and my nanny picks her up in the afternoon. We're going to communicate through the website which items should be sent home with her, so the nanny can double check to make sure she has everything. My ex-wife isn't happy. I think she was coming to my house in hopes of reconciliation, but I told her respectfully, but in no uncertain terms, that it was never going to happen, but I would love to evolve our relationship as awesome co-parents to an amazing little girl, and maybe one day, friends. Again, thank you to everyone who took the time to reply to my post. This community has been a wonderful resource for me. I hope you all have a wonderful night. My wife's one-night stand ended up as a crazy affair and lasted 2 years before I served her divorce papers. I met my ex-wife in the 9th grade of high school. Everything seemed great through high school. However, the first sign was during her freshman year of college. She started to become distant and eventually wanted to take a break. She was honest about her intentions. She wanted to see what else was out there. I wish I did let her explore her options, and if we ended up back together then it was meant to be. On the other hand, I had just proposed several months earlier and she accepted. So I felt fully committed at that point. We ultimately decided to stay together and ended up getting married. At the time she was in school for nursing and I was working in the oil field. I didn't feel like I had much going in my life, so I decided to join the Air Force Reserve. In boot camp and tech school I met a female I call V. We became good friends and kept the relationship 100% platonic. After tech school we lost contact and things seems to be going pretty well in my marriage. We had 2 boys and both had great careers. One day while at work I get a call from my ex crying and saying she wants a divorce. She saw a message on Facebook that I hadn't seen yet from V saying she missed me, missed our conversations and hanging out. The message was pretty vague, so my ex-wife assumed there was more than a platonic friendship. I got home that night and called V and spoke to her on speaker with my ex-wife next to me. She assured my ex-wife that we were just platonic friends and nothing had ever happened between V and I. At the time my ex seemed okay and things went back to normal. And although nothing ever came close to happening between V and I, this relationship clearly bothered my ex. So we told each other no friends of the opposite sex that weren't mutual friends. Over the next several months the same distant person she was during her freshman year of college came back. She changed from the day shift to the night shift at work. She would go on girls' nights out and was constantly attached to her phone. I questioned her several times, but she assured me she would never cheat. The girls' nights out eventually became a 3 to 4 times a week thing. I started to become very jealous and something in my heart told me she was seeing someone outside of our marriage. I decided to look through her Facebook page and messages. I found messages between her and another guy. Although there was no clear proof of cheating, the messages were more of the flirtatious nature. After reading the messages I went down a rabbit hole on FB. I looked at every picture and commented. Although there were lots of flirting and compliments, there was still no clear proof of cheating. We had a conversation about this and she, once again, assured me she was not cheating and stated he was strictly a platonic friend. After reminding her of our agreement to not have friends of the opposite sex, she promised to cut all ties with him. One Christmas morning, I was grabbing something from the counter and the home phone rang. My jaw dropped when I saw her platonic friend's name on the caller ID. I picked up the phone and he immediately hung up. I go into the room and demand the truth. She admits to meeting up with him a couple of times at the bar, but still claims they never hooked up. After a rocky few months we decided to work things out. We made the decision to move to North Texas as she began applying to CRNA schools in the area. She was accepted into a program at TCU and asked me if she could take a girls' cruise with her best friends the summer before her program started. I said no several times, but eventually gave in after her begging and pleading. 3 weeks before her program starts, the school invited the family to a dinner. During this dinner, the dean of the program states that my wife will need my support 100%. She will have to focus and study like she never has before. The dean said most marriages don't make it through the program. I told my wife she has my support. I will take care of the family while she pursues her dream. While she did become extremely distant and spent lots of time at her school library and at a female friend's apartment for study time, I genuinely thought this time was being spent to focus on her studies. She would have to stay home to study for a test every weekend. I had drill with the Air Force in Oklahoma. After a year and a half, she was placed in Lafayette, Louisiana for her clinical rotation. I had started a job a year prior and saw potential to move up in my career, so we decided it was best for the boys and I to stay in Texas. We would try to visit as often as possible, but her schedule would allow for 1, maybe 2 weekends a month. There were 2 times I went down to see her without the boys. The first time was during an LSU/Alabama tailgating party. Although we did have fun, the lack of attention she paid to me seemed purposeful. Like she intentionally treated me like a guy she put in the friend zone, and had zero romantic interest in. The second time I went to see her, we did hang out with just the 2 of us. However, by 8 p.m. she was so drunk she passed out. Moving forward, about 2 months later, I got a call from her around 9 p.m. She is accusing me of cheating and claims I've never loved her. I brought up the way she treated me during the 2 rare visits I had with her. She starts crying and asks me if I would ever leave her. Even though she was the valedictorian in high school out of a class of 650 and graduated at the top of her nursing school program, I once again assumed she was stressed from school and assured her I was loyal to her and will continue to hold the house down until she comes back. She said, "I have to tell you something, but you have to promise you won't leave me." At this point I was 99.99% sure she was cheating. I assumed it was some guy she met in Louisiana. She then states, "I've been cheating on you for 2 years." She had met a guy the first night of her girls' cruise and slept with him that night. She didn't plan to speak to him after the cruise ended, but said he kept texting and calling, and eventually she gave in. She was going down to see him every weekend. I had drill with the Air Force. When she would go to study with her female friend at her apartment, she was actually meeting up with him. My jaw dropped to the ground. She admitted that school is tough, but the distance, her cold demeanor, the lack of attention to me and our children was purely based on her affair. After this, I looked at her like she was just another female in this world. I became jealous of everything she did and eventually decided to end it. Once the divorce was final, for the first time in my life I was single. I dated around for months at a time, but could never trust any of them to commit. I felt like I had to protect myself and felt all women were the same. Fast forward 2 years later, and I matched with my current wife on Tinder, and we hit it off. There was something different about her, and I felt like I've known her for years. We eventually decide to move in together and get married. Conversations about past relationships revolved around my ex and her ex. How she was treated by him, how my ex cheated on me. I never asked about promiscuity, but did tell her I don't agree with friends of the opposite sex. At the time I rarely used social media, but after a couple of years I reactivated my FB account. The other day I decided to go snooping through my current wife's FB page, and like they say, if you go looking you might find what you're looking for. There are several pictures of my wife on FB that are very revealing. Of course there are guys complimenting her and some commenting what they would do to her. There is one guy specifically that she was really close with who was constantly making sexual jokes with her. She hates going to movie theaters. However, there are several posts where she has checked into a theater with him. There's a comment on one post where she tells him if he acts up he will sleep on the couch. She claims they never lived together, and have never even came close to sleeping with him. One time we had an ant infestation, and she had him come over and spray for bugs. He does this for a living apparently. I did get upset at that time and told her to never invite one of her male friends into my home for any reason. Especially when I am not there. I told her I want all promiscuous pictures on her social media taken down, and I want all communication with any male friends she's had a history with cut off. We have a 1-year-old daughter, and I don't want her to think that seeking validation is okay, and I don't want anyone else seeing my wife like that. Is this crossing the line? Any advice would help.